I want to talk to you about TaxSlayer. So this is a TaxSlayer review, and we want to know everything about this tax preparation software, if it's really worth it for you. So here's an overview I want you to think about. So when you think about TaxSlayer, I want you to think about a comprehensive personal tax preparation tool for a good price. So you have comprehensiveness and then you have affordability. So this is kind of important to really keep in mind. Keep that in mind. I'll come back to that later on. So basically, when you think about TaxSlayer's pricing model, I want you to think about a very specific pricing model, because the company charges according to the level of support you want, instead of according to a software package's capabilities. In other words, the cheapest paid package handles all the same tax situation and forms that the most expensive package handles. What changes is how much help you can get through the package. You can see on the screen here is how the pricing looks like as of the date of this show. You have Simply Free, Classic, Premium, and Self-Employed. Okay, so so when you think about TaxSlayer, I want you to think about you're able to file federal for free and one state return as well. So that if you have a very simple tax situation, your taxable income is under $100,000, you don't claim dependents, you don't itemize, you don't have investments, rental income, or a business, and you don't take the earned income tax credit, you can qualify for the free filing at the federal level. Okay, so you can see that it's pretty much very, very, very complicated, or very restrictive, if you will. But hey, listen, it is what it is. And so basically, TaxSlayer, in our view, is really for folks who have a simple tax return, because TaxSlayer makes filing a return easy for people who don't want a lot of hand holding. If you know what types of income you need to report and which deductions and credits you can claim, you don't have to navigate dozens of unnecessary interview screens. You can skip ahead to the sections you need. And it's one of those things where you have to decide which one really works for you at the end of the day. And so what we love about TaxSlayer is that you have the flexibility. So basically, this range of options in terms of flexibility makes TaxSlayer a great tax software for people who want to try filing independently, but might also need help if they have questions or get stuck. And other people who might benefit from using TaxSlayer include students, self-employed individuals, and seniors, for instance. Okay, people who are retired, the retirees also might actually love TaxSlayer. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. So let's talk about the pros and cons of this software tool. So when you think about TaxSlayer, what should you think about? First of all, let's talk about the pros. So I want you to think about a tool that's affordable. So you have tax preparation software that's very affordable. Like if you were to compare TaxSlayer to say H&R Block or to TurboTax, for instance, TaxSlayer, or even TaxAct for that matter, TaxSlayer is way cheaper. So it is fast. We love that a lot. You have, in terms of UX and UI, fantastic. You have a clean interface with intuitive navigation. And you have a tool that supports all major IRS forms and schedules. This is kind of cool. You have new data entry options. And so this is really good in terms of giving you the ability to file fast, okay? So you have step-by-step guidance to help you file quickly. You can actually file your federal and state return with a smartphone or tablet through the apps. This is kind of cool. You have a pretty solid app here that's available through iOS and Android. And basically, TaxSlayer provides great customer service by phone and email. And in some cases, they also do live chat. Okay, so those are the pros when it comes to TaxSlayer. What about the cons here? Basically, in our view, you have little context-sensitive help on Q&A pages, and the quantity and quality of help content could improve. I mean, right now, we've heard that in the last few months, they've been beefing up their help content, but it's still not where it should be at. And search results are not very targeted, and they should really do a better job in that department, in our view. And when it comes to TaxSlayer, they have too much reliance on IRS instructions and publications instead of actually coming up with their own content. So basically, they will gain a lot when it comes to authoritativeness if they were to really write their own content. And free tax assistance is only available for premium and self-employed versions. And so it's really a bummer, but hey, listen, it is what it is. And you cannot upload your W-2 or 1099 as of right now. And we heard that they're still fixing that also. And TaxSlayer's tax experts have limited IRS VITA, or in-house training, and may not be certified public accountants, enrolled agents, or tax attorneys. So basically, the breadth and depth of expertise may not be there when it comes to certain complicated tax situations. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about TaxSlayer. So this is a TaxSlayer tax preparation software review. So let's talk about the specs here. So when you think about TaxSlayer, what are the specs you need to really think about? Well, you have a tool that allows you to import competitors' returns. You have all major IRS forms and schedules, and you have a comprehensive navigational outline. So that's what we love. I mean, what we love about TaxSlayer is that it actually started as a tool for accountants and professional tax preparers more than 50 years ago. 50 years ago. Can you imagine that? 50 years ago. And so the company entered the individual tax preparation software market in the 1990s and has had a big presence among the best tax software ever since. So its affordability combined with comprehensive coverage of tax topics has kept TaxSlayer competitive in our view. And so the company actually focused on several areas of the site as it really incorporated the tax law changes of last year. And so it has improved the overall user experience, for example, by adding visuals and improving performance. So this is kind of cool. It has also expanded its data entry options, allowing for the import of a PDF of your W-2 and facilitating easier import of 1040 data from the previous year. So in terms of functionality and capability, really fantastic. Okay. Now, how does the TaxSlayer stack up against the competition really? Well, it really depends. I mean, basically, TaxSlayer is relatively more affordable than TurboTax and H&R Block, that's for sure. And what we love about TaxSlayer is that they're really transparent when it comes to pricing. Now, the thing is that in terms of help content, they really need to do a better job here, because if you need more guidance with your tax return and want the help of a professional, basically the service of TaxSlayer can be somewhat limited, because I think I was telling you earlier, they don't have like tax pros who are CPAs or enrolled agents or even tax attorneys, and they need to beef up their expertise in that department. So, because the last thing you want is to actually receive guidance from someone who is not really that great in terms of taxes. I mean, you want to be able to get data from someone who really knows what he or she is talking about, and that's just normal. Especially when it comes to taxes, you really want to make sure that you have the best data anyway. So, yeah. So let's talk about pricing here. So how much does TaxSlayer really cost? So TaxSlayer is available in 4 different versions. So basically, it's one of those things where you have to really think about what kind of situation applies to you. So you have the free, so the simply free, and this is well free for both federal and state returns for Form 1040 filers. W-2 reporting and education deductions and credits are included. So this is kind of cool. And then you have, so from simply free, you have classic, you have TaxSlayer Premium, and you have the self-employed. Okay. And so when you think about classic, you are around $29.95 to $34.95. For TaxSlayer Premium, you are around $49.95 to $54.95. For self-employed, you are going from $59.95 all the way to $74.95 for federal. Everything I'm telling you, that's for federal. So, but you have to pay additional for the state, and it's about $39.95 to $44.95. Okay. And it's one of those things where you have to really, see what really applies to you. And so when we talk about the simply free, so here you have free filing of federal and 1 state tax return. And this is only available for filers with taxable income under $100,000 and no dependents. So here you are able to report wages, salaries, unemployment, and taxable interest under $1,500. And here, this simply free allows standard deduction, education credits, and student loan interest. No itemization. You cannot itemize. Okay. And so for the classic, here, this includes all IRS forms, credits, and deductions with no restrictions. And the state return will cost an additional $39.95 to $44.95. For the premium, here you are covering all IRS forms, credits, and deductions with no restrictions. It includes a priority phone and email support, live chat, and access to a tax pro. And the state return will cost you an additional $40. And what about the self-employed? This is like the top of the top here, and it will cost you $64.95. And this is $64.95. This kind of like, can you imagine if you were to go to TurboTax or H&R Block, you probably will be around $100. So for the self-employed within TaxSlayer, this includes additional guidance while entering business income and expenses to maximize deductions. You have unlimited phone, email, and live chat support and access to a tax pro with self-employment expertise. This is kind of cool. You also have audit defense and representation from a tax pro in the event of an IRS audit for 3 years. You have tax payment reminders, and the state return here will cost you an additional $39.95. So it's pretty decent if you think about it. So if you're not sure which version you need, you can always start with the simply free edition. And while preparing your return, if you try to add income deductions or tax credits not allowed by the version you're in, the software automatically bumps you to the classic edition. And if you want to pay your filing fee out of your federal refund, TaxSlayer partnered with a third-party bank to offer this option. This will cost you like $39.95. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about TaxSlayer. This is a TaxSlayer tax preparation software review. So let's talk about the UX. So when we talk about the user experience with TaxSlayer, what should you really just remember? I mean, is TaxSlayer safe to use? Yes, definitely, because TaxSlayer's security is evident from the moment you create an account and log in. So the site has complex password requirements and employs actually a single-use verification code that can be sent either to your email address or mobile phone. This is kind of cool. And sometimes they actually implement MFA also. So this is multi-factor authentication, or 2FA, two-factor authentication. So this is kind of cool. So one thing I want to say is that in terms of knowing if the company is legit, of course, the company is legit. Companies are pretty solid, and so you actually can do a lot of do a lot of tax preparation through a TaxSlayer. Everything from 1040 all the way to Schedule C, and also all the ancillary schedules that come with your 1040. Okay, and getting started with TaxSlayer is pretty fast. It's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Just go to their website and just start, and you'll see a link that says start a new return now, and then you just follow the prompts. You will actually get an email from TaxSlayer. You just have to confirm, and then you log into your account and you just follow through all the question and answers and the questionnaire. And so what we love about TaxSlayer is that at that price, like even at the $64.95, they're still allowing you to cover all income topics. So all W-2, 1099, NEC, and profit and loss from business. So that's Schedule C. So this is kind of cool. And once you actually finish a subtopic, TaxSlayer takes you back to the master list until you have exhausted every issue that applies to you and can move on to the next topic area. So this is kind of cool. And so we love that a lot. And you also have, you are able to upload W-2 PDFs obtained from your employer or payroll service, and you can have that data transferred automatically onto your TaxSlayer sort of app, account. This is really good. And TaxSlayer does actually offer a little bit of taxpayer help depending upon the tier, the pricing tier that you're in. So this is kind of cool. They actually offer solid tax preparation software tools that will deliver what most taxpayers need at a relatively low cost. Okay, each offers a free version. For Cash App taxes, it's the only option really when you think about it. So basically, you're able to complete both federal and state returns without paying anything. You have to use its app to do so though. So TaxSlayer, on the other hand, has 5 options in all. It charges $29.95 for its classic version, $49.95 for premium, $59.95 for self-employed. There's also a free version of the software that's just for active duty military service members. Okay, and so if you want a simple process and a fast refund, Cash App Taxes may work best for you. Customers who use its service can get their refunds up to 2 days sooner if they request it via Cash App. And if you need more flexibility or have a more complex tax situation, then TaxSlayer may be a better choice in our view. What about TaxSlayer versus TurboTax? Well, TurboTax is generally known for being more expensive than TaxSlayer. In fact, it's one of the higher priced tax preparation services on the market as of now. However, the thing is that with TurboTax, you get a lot for the price you pay. That's for sure. And so there is a reason TurboTax takes top honors when it comes to best tax preparation software. And this is kind of cool. So the company has a long-standing reputation for having a user-friendly interface, and professional reviewers actually highlight TurboTax for clear explanations of tax issues, top-notch online support, and a comprehensive final review of your return. So this is kind of cool. On the other hand, and this is a big that thing I need to say here, some taxpayers do not need all those extras if you want to think about it, and do not want to pay for them. So if that describes you, TaxSlayer can be a great alternative. It offers a reliable way to complete actually your tax return at a considerably lower price than you would pay when using TurboTax, that's for sure. Okay, so it's one of those things where you have to see what really works for you, and it's one of those things, again, you have to see exactly what's applicable to your situation. So what is our verdict here? Do we recommend TaxSlayer? Is TaxSlayer legit? Is TaxSlayer sort of worth it? So the answers to all those questions are yes, yes, yes. TurboTax is legit. I mean, not TurboTax, TaxSlayer rather. TaxSlayer is legit. TaxSlayer is worth it, and TaxSlayer, we actually recommend TaxSlayer. That's for sure. So the thing is that basically TaxSlayer, think of TaxSlayer as an affordable tax preparation service that gets better each year. I mean, they are basically improving every single year. It's just fantastic. Okay. Now, basically, you can use TaxSlayer in our view if you're a single taxpayer, no dependents, W-2 income, and the student loan interest deduction. Let's say if you are trying to really, like, if you have a fairly simple tax situation, you will love TaxSlayer. If you have I would say a relatively more complex tax situation, then you have to upgrade to self-employed. That's when you actually really feel so you get all the benefits of TaxSlayer. You get everything, because self-employed is actually the top pricing tier when it comes to TaxSlayer. Okay, it's one of those things where you have exactly everything that you need. And one thing I want to say also is that TaxSlayer actually has like, the user interface is kind of cool. It's pretty straightforward. So we love that a lot. And also, it's one of those things where you have to also, if you want to get your taxes filed ASAP, TaxSlayer is a great tool to think about. The only thing is they have to work on their staff. So they're tax pros, what they call tax pros. So a lot of them are not CPAs. A lot of them are not EAs. So that's a little bit of it's a concern, because if you have quote unquote a complicated sort of tax topic, you want to make sure that the person you're talking to at TaxSlayer understands exactly and can give you reliable guidance. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. Let me quickly do a recap here to this conversation. I'll give you a TaxSlayer sort of review. And so let me do a recap here. I gave you the overview, the pros and cons, the specs. I talked about the pricing, the user experience, the rivalry, and the verdict. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.